You ever get that feeling? Like, just trying to get AI to generate an image is way too much work.
Oh, tell me about it. It's all over the place.
Right. One tool for this, another for that.
Exactly. But you know what? We're diving into something today that might just change the game.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's called OmniGen, and it's aiming to be like the one-stop shop for all things image generation.
All right, lay it on me. What makes OmniGen so special? We've seen tons of these models come and go.
This one's different. Think of it as a unified model.
Unified.
Yeah, like instead of needing separate tools for every little thing, OmniGen can handle a whole bunch of tasks.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, you've got your text to image, obviously, but then you've also got image editing, style transfer, even mimicking specific artistic styles, all within the same framework.
Fewer tools, less hassle. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But how does it pull that off? What's the magic behind it?
Honestly, it's the data. They train this thing on a massive data set called X2I, stands for anything to image. Right. And get this, over 0.1 billion images.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they cover a crazy range of tasks. Simple image captions, complex multimodal instructions, the works.
So basically, they force-fed this thing the entire visual internet.
Yeah.
Makes sense why it can do so much.
Exactly. That's the key. All that data lets OmniGen learn, like this general knowledge about images, how the different elements connect, you know?
Okay, I'm following you. But let's get a little more technical here. What's going on under the hood? How does this thing actually work?
Well, the architecture itself is surprisingly simple. There are two main parts, a VAE and a transformer model.
VAE, transform. Sorry, you're going to have to break those down for me. Not exactly a coding whiz over here.
No problem. So think of a VAE like a super efficient image compressor.
Okay, I'm with you.
It takes an image, extracts all the key information, and compresses it into a much smaller representation. Then it uses that to reconstruct the original image crazy accurately.
Like squeezing a huge image file down to almost nothing and then poof, back to the original.
Exactly. Now, the transformer model, that's like the brains of the operation. It takes that compressed image representation from the VAE and uses something called an attention mechanism to understand how everything in the image relates to everything else.
Attention mechanism. That sounds kind of human, actually.
It is. It's how OmniGen can understand images like we do. Think about it. You see a picture of a dog playing fetch. Your attention goes to the dog first, then the ball, then maybe the background. You're not just seeing pixels, you're understanding the connections.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But how does it know what to focus on? Especially when you've got these complex instructions.
That's the cool part. The transformer model doesn't just see the whole image at once. It breaks it down into smaller chunks, kind of like words in a sentence, and then figures out which chunks are most important for the task at hand.
So, like, it's analyzing the image, figuring out the grammar of the visual world. Pretty mind-blowing.
Right. And then there's the modified attention mechanism, which lets it understand the order of instructions or inputs.
So it's not just seeing stuff, it's understanding the sequence of events.
Exactly. That's essential for anything that needs a specific order of actions.
Give me an example. My brain's starting to hurt, but in a good way.
Okay, imagine you want to generate an image based on a pose. You give OmniGen a stick figure drawing of someone striking a pose.
Yeah.
Boom! It generates a photorealistic image of a person in that exact pose. Or, say you've got a photo of someone and another photo of an outfit.
Okay.
OmniGen can dress that person in the new outfit. Seams, shadows, textures, everything.
Like a digital fashion show.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold on the VAE and transformer. But there's got to be more to it than just those two things, right?
All right. There's also the loss function. It's basically how the model learns to get better during training. OmniGen uses this really smart weighted loss function.
Weighted?
Yeah, it means it can focus on specific areas of an image, especially for things like image editing.
So if I want to change someone's hairstyle in a portrait, it knows to pay extra attention to the hair, not mess up the rest of the face.
Exactly. No more weird artifacts or unexpected changes. But look, let's be real. No model is perfect.
True, true. What are OmniGen's weaknesses? What are the researchers still working on?
Well, one thing is, it can be a bit sensitive to how detailed the text prompts are. More specific, better results, like talking to a very literal artist.
So no more make it look cool. Got it.
Exactly. And it can struggle with rendering really long text or handling a ton of input images at once.
Okay, keep it concise. Don't overload it. Anything else?
Fine details like hands, facial features. Sometimes they can look a little off, especially with complex poses or lighting.
Yeah, I can see that being a challenge. The little things can make or break the realism.
Totally. And of course, like any AI, it struggles with things it's never seen before.
It's like asking a landscape painter to suddenly create abstract art. Makes sense.
Right. But even with those limitations, the potential here is huge. And the best part, they're open sourcing it.
Nice. So the community can jump in, help improve even faster.
Exactly. It's about collaboration,
Mhm.
pushing the boundaries of what's possible with image generation.
Okay, we've covered the tech behind OmniGen, but what about the real-world impact? Where could this thing really shake things up?
Oh man, the possibilities are huge. One area that comes to mind immediately is entertainment.
Entertainment, huh? How so?
Think about it. We could create entire virtual worlds filled with photorealistic characters, all generated on the fly.
Wait, are you saying no more expensive CGI? No more motion capture suits?
Exactly. We could have actors performing in a completely digital space. Their likeness is rendered in incredible detail.
Wow, that would be a game changer for, like, everything. Video games, animation, even VR experiences.
Right. It would make creating visually stunning content way more accessible.
It's like giving filmmakers and game developers a magic wand. They could conjure up anything they can imagine.
I like that. And it's not just about the visuals. OmniGen's ability to handle complex instructions and multimodal input could lead to way more interactive storytelling.
Oh, interesting. So the environment, the characters, they could respond to your actions in real time.
Exactly. Your choices actually shape the experience. Think about the possibilities for gaming and immersive storytelling.
Okay, now you're just getting me excited. But let's step back from the entertainment world for a second. What about more practical applications? Could OmniGen have an impact on fields like design and architecture?
Absolutely. Architects could use OmniGen to generate and tweak building designs in real time.
So they could experiment with different materials, lighting, landscaping,
Yeah.
all within the same model.
Yep. And clients could take virtual tours of their future homes before a single brick is laid.
No more tiny cardboard models. We're talking full-blown VR walkthroughs.
Exactly. And it's not just architecture. Think about fashion. Designers could create virtual prototypes of clothes, experiment with different fabrics and patterns, even stage virtual fashion shows.
Whoa. All without producing a single physical garment. That's sustainable fashion at its best.
Right. Good for the environment and the bottom line.
Okay, but what about something with even bigger implications, like medicine or scientific research? Could OmniGen make a difference there?
Huge potential there. Imagine researchers being able to generate super realistic visualizations of complex data.
So instead of staring at spreadsheets, they could be exploring 3D models of molecules or interacting with simulations of climate change.
Exactly. And it can make it easier to understand and communicate complex scientific concepts.
Wow, that could inspire a whole new generation of scientists. But what about more practical applications in healthcare?
Well, one area where OmniGen could really shine is personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine.
Yeah. Imagine being able to create custom medical illustrations for each patient, tailored to their specific anatomy.
So instead of those generic textbook diagrams, doctors could use these personalized visuals to explain diagnoses and treatment options.
Exactly. It could really empower patients to take control of their own healthcare.
That's a game changer. And as the technology gets better, we could even see virtual models of organs being used in surgical planning or drug development.
Right. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, you've sold me on the potential. But we have to talk about the downsides. With any powerful tech, there's always the risk of misuse.
Absolutely. In the wrong hands, OmniGen could be used to create incredibly convincing deepfakes.
Yeah, we're already struggling to tell fact from fiction online. A tool like this could make things even worse.
It's definitely a concern. We need safeguards and ethical guidelines to prevent that kind of misuse.
Absolutely. But the potential benefits are hard to ignore. It's like a double-edged sword, right?
Exactly. We need to be mindful of the risks while also embracing the possibilities.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into what makes OmniGen stand out from other image generation models. What are its strengths?
Well, one of the biggest strengths is its ability to handle multimodal input.
We talked about that briefly, but can you give me a specific example?
Sure. Let's say you have a photo of a cat and you want to add a top hat. With most models, you'd have to rely on text prompts alone.
Yeah, which could lead to some pretty unpredictable results.
Right. But with OmniGen, you can actually provide a reference image of the top hat you want.
So it's not just guessing, based on my description. It's actually seeing the specific style and shape I'm going for.
Exactly. And that multimodal capability isn't just limited to adding objects. You can use it to guide style transfer, image editing, even generating new scenes based on a combo of text and images.
Wow, so it's taking the best of both worlds. The precision of visual references with the flexibility of language.
Exactly. And that's also what allows for those incredible end-to-end workflows we talked about earlier. Remember that example of generating an image from a pose?
Yeah, with this stick figure drawing.
OmniGen can do that in a single step, no extra plugins needed.
It's like having a whole team of digital artists working behind the scenes.
Right. And on top of that, there's the flexibility. Because it's not tied to a specific task, researchers are finding new and surprising ways to use it all the time. Remember those emerging capabilities we mentioned, the in-context learning, the reasoning, the chain of thought.
Yeah, those were mind-blowing.
And they're becoming more real every day. It's not just about solving old problems, it's about exploring entirely new possibilities.
It's like we're creating a new kind of visual language, one where we can communicate and create with images in ways we never thought possible.
Exactly. And as we move forward with this tech, it's crucial to approach it with a healthy mix of curiosity, caution, and responsibility.
Yeah, because the future of image generation is being written right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Well said. And I think tools like OmniGen, with their power to bridge the gap between our imagination and reality, could help us solve some of the world's biggest challenges.
Okay, so OmniGen is powerful, flexible, and has the potential for both good and bad. But let's get down to brass tacks. How could it actually change the world?
Well, its impact could be felt almost everywhere, even in something as simple as shopping.
Shopping, really?
Yeah, imagine browsing an online store, but instead of just pictures, you can interact with products in 3D. Change colors, patterns, even see how clothes would fit on a virtual you.
Online shopping, that's actually fun. I like it. But what about something with a little more, societal impact?
Okay, how about education? Textbooks that come alive with 3D models, historical simulations, even virtual field trips.
Making learning more engaging, more immersive, that's a game changer, especially for kids who learn best visually.
Exactly. And it could make quality education more accessible for everyone. But what about cutting-edge research?
Yeah, could OmniGen really make a difference in those fields?
Absolutely. Imagine scientists being able to visualize complex data in a way that's actually intuitive.
So instead of just numbers on a screen, they could be exploring 3D models of molecules, playing with simulations of climate change, even walking through a virtual brain.
Exactly. It could lead to all sorts of new discoveries and breakthroughs.
Okay, you've convinced me. OmniGen is more than just pretty pictures. It could revolutionize everything. But what about the big picture? How could it change our relationship with, art, with creativity, even reality itself?
Now those are the really interesting questions. If anyone can create amazing art with a few clicks, what happens to the role of the artist?
It's the debate we've been having ever since AI art first appeared, right? Is it a tool or a threat?
I think it's both, honestly. Like any tool, it depends on the user. But technology doesn't replace creativity, it just changes it.
So instead of seeing AI as competition, we should see it as a collaborator.
Exactly. And that collaboration could lead to whole new forms of art that we can't even imagine yet.
I like that. But let's be real, there are downsides too. We talked about deepfakes, misinformation, the erosion of trust in what we see.
Absolutely. And it's not just about malicious intent. There's also the risk of bias in the algorithms or even creating imagery that's so real, it's impossible to tell from reality.
It's a lot to think about. It feels like every time technology takes a leap forward, we have to figure out a whole new set of rules.
True. But I'm hopeful. I think we can find ways to use this technology for good.
Me too. It's all about being aware of the risks, but also being excited about the possibilities.
Right. And I think tools like OmniGen, with their ability to bridge the gap between what we imagine and what's real, could help us solve some of humanity's biggest problems.
Well said. Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the fascinating world of OmniGen. It's a model that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and it'll be exciting to see where it goes next. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring.